One of my favorite topics is this. Gather around, children. We're taking bong rips and talking about steel composition. The difference between a razor blade and a butter knife is not the fact that the butter knife is for butter and the razor blade is for shaving or cutting something. It's mostly the composition. Hence why you can actually sharpen a butter knife, but it's not going to stay sharp for a very long time, especially in comparison to a razor blade. Quite literally, what took humans so long to progress in technology was the leap from the copper or bronze age to the iron age, and then subsequently to homogeneous, well produced overall steel. But yes, all steel does melt and it does pour. Eventually, it does need to be forged for it to have a significant amount of strength. But I'm bringing receipts into this. Cast iron or cast steel, usually things that are just casted, they're melted and then poured. You need a significant composition that allows that to happen. For example, there's all types of cast, right? If I'm not mistaken, cast iron pots and pans fall under gray. It's general purpose, it's strong enough, but it's not that strong. One of the reasons it's not that strong is this chart right here for the average carbon percentages in comparison to silicon present in cast iron items, right? You see that we're hovering about above 2-ish and so like that, maybe even in some cases 4-ish. That's a lot of carbon in an alloy. And for all intensive purposes here, carbon is going to equal brittle. The 10 series steels like 10, 50, 60, 75, 85, 95, so on and so forth of the carbon steels, we can go to some websites that have reliable sourcing and reliable information. So we're going to look at the chemical composition of 1095. You ready? Look at that carbon. Less than 1%. That means that this steel, 1095 carbon steel, which is extremely brittle, a lot of 1095 steel knives, you see them broken, it's very brittle at right around 1%. And if we look back to our average carbon in cast iron stuff, it sits much higher, thus much more brittle. And this is exactly why casting a knife is not a good idea. But you know, if you had a mold in which you put a very thin layer of like 1095 and then you put, you cast it around that, so the middle sandwich of the knife would be a hard piece of steel, although tempering would be a significant issue because you would probably break the cast iron at the high temperature that is required for the 1095 to quench and temper adequately. Whew, what a mouthful. See, look at all that logistic that is completely unnecessary if you just make knives out of knife steel. I have a Facebook page and a YouTube channel where I talk about all sorts of subjects like this. Thank you for watching. Follow me for more.